Hi everyone, Pastor Lauren here, and I am happy to be with you today to share with you a Bible story from Daniel chapter 3. Some of you may be familiar with this story. I think I grew up hearing about this story. It's kind of long, so I'm not going to be reading all of it for you, but I would encourage you to go and read in the book of Daniel about this powerful story. And I have my Bible here with me. You may not be able to see it in the frame. In Daniel chapter 3, King Nebuchadnezzar builds a golden statue that he wants everyone to come and bow before and worship. And he's so adamant about people coming to bow before this statue that if people don't do it, don't come before this statue and bow down and worship it, then there will be some very terrible consequences from making that decision. So I want to start reading at verse 8. So if you want to follow along, I'm in Daniel chapter 3, verse 8. At that moment, some Chaldeans came forward, seizing a chance to attack the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "Long live the king! Your Majesty, you gave a command that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, zither, lyre, harp, flute, and every kind of instrument should bow down and worship the gold statue. Anyone who wouldn't bow and worship would be thrown into a furnace of flaming fire." Now there are some Jews, ones you appointed to administer the province of Babylon, specifically Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have ignored your command. They don't serve your gods, and they don't worship the gold statue you've set up. In a violent rage, Nebuchadnezzar ordered them to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they were brought before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you don't serve my gods or worship the gold statue I've set up? If you are now ready to do so, bow down and worship the gold statue I've made when you hear the sound of horn, pipe, zither, lyre, harp, flute, and every kind of instrument. But if you won't worship it, you will be thrown straight into the furnace of flaming fire. Then what God will rescue you from my power?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered King Nebuchadnezzar, "We don't need to answer your question. If our God, the one we serve, is able to rescue us from the furnace of flaming fire and from your power, your Majesty, then let him rescue us. But if he doesn't, know this for certain. Your Majesty, we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you've set up." Now this story continues, and King Nebuchadnezzar is filled with rage and becomes extremely angry and says, "You know what? Since you will not do what I am commanding you to do, then I am going to throw you into that furnace of flaming fire." And he does. And miraculously, God does come to their rescue and saves them from this fiery furnace. And the king is amazed at what happened, and you can continue to read the story from there. Just a few days ago, Shelley and I came together to record a song called "Even If." This is a song that I came across not that long ago. I don't think it's a brand new song. It's a contemporary Christian song by the band MercyMe, so some of you may have heard of it before. But when I kind of randomly came across it when I was listening to some music the other day, it really moved me, and it spoke to me about this time that we're in. And the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, part of it is very clearly part of the lyrics of this song. And it's this part at the end of what I read for you. If our God, the one we serve, is able to rescue us from the furnace of flaming fire and from your power, then let him rescue us. But even if he doesn't, know this for certain: we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue that you have set up. I can't imagine the kind of faith that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had to have had in that moment to do what they did and to make the decision that they made, and said to this king, even if you kill us, go ahead and do it. We are not going to bow down to you or to this statue that you've set up. Because their faith was bigger than that one moment. The writer of this song that Shelley and I have recorded, Bart Millard, he tells a story related to the creation of this song that they share about his child that has a chronic illness. And he talks about how unlikely it is that his child will ever live a day without that illness. His child will live his entire life with this illness. And he even says, even in the face of that, and even in the face of how difficult some days are living with this chronic illness, he says he still chooses to place his hope in God alone and knows that God is always with him, even in the face of the hardest circumstances. It is no surprise to anyone that we are living in really challenging times. It has been months now since we have been apart in so many ways due to this COVID-19 pandemic. We are living in a time of such unrest in our communities. It is a hard time to be living through right now. One thing just in particular that I've noticed throughout these last several months is how difficult it is losing a loved one when we really can't all be together in the way that we want to. That is so difficult. I've seen that play out in families in our congregation, and I've seen that play out in my own family with a loss that we experienced. So when I heard this song, when I was reminded of this Bible story, and when I heard the story that Bart Millard shared about his own family, it reminded me that our faith is bigger than this one moment that we are in. Our God is bigger than this moment that we are living in. And the hope that Jesus gives to us each and every day is so much bigger than any moment that we could find ourselves living in. So I hope that you can be encouraged by this today, especially by the words of this song. And so I share that with you now, Shelley and I, this song by MercyMe called Even If.
Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Right now I'm losing. you.